Hey guys, I thought I would do a full face of Charlotte Tilbury and kind of create a holiday look that I would want to wear out to a holiday party. I think I was inspired by the fact that Mona, the Glam Dr. Mona Khan, was here visiting me last week, and she is such a huge Charlotte Tilbury fan that talking to her, not that I don't love Charlotte Tilbury's makeup line, but you go through cycles, and I had been, playing around with other brands or whatever, but she kind of just like rekindled that like Charlotte Tilbury fire inside of me. And my Nordstrom here was just renovated, and now they have this huge Charlotte Tilbury like wall. I don't even want to call it a counter because there's no actual counter there, but they have this like display of all of her products, and it has the Charlotte Tilbury, like vanity lights around everything. It just looks super cool. I purchased some things while Mona was here, which I would like to use also. So I thought I would mix all of the relevant things together, like the holidays, this Charlotte Tilbury, having Mona here, celebrating Charlotte Tilbury's like full display at Nordstrom, and also trying out some of these new things that I got. So I have never been able to actually do a Charlotte Tilbury full face before because I never had a foundation, and I had tried her Magic foundation. I just found that foundation to be a little bit drying on my skin, and I've actually decluttered that from my collection. But just recently I picked up the Light Wonder, and at first I didn't like it. At first I thought this was way too thick for what I thought it was going to be, but it was user error. I just applied way too much, and the second time I used it I applied a lot less. I used a sponge, and it worked out beautifully. So I'm going to be using the Light Wonder today, but first I would like to use a primer, and I've got her Hollywood Flawless Filter here. I have it in the shade 2. This is a product that really just can't be categorized. It's not really a primer. It's not really a highlighter. I mean, I guess you could consider it a cream highlight, but it's such an interesting and unique product that you really can just play around with it and figure out how it best works for you. So I really like it under foundation, and I love the sheen that this gives because it is not glittery, sparkly. It just has like a really nice pearlescence kind of a sheen, and that's the kind of like glow that I really like. It also has just this interesting giant doe foot applicator. So I'm going to put this on where I would normally highlight. And I just take a cream brush, something like my concealer brush, and I just kind of blend that in. I don't want to move it around too much because I don't want it in any areas that I don't want it in. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't want to like blend it all the way down my cheek because I don't want it all the way down there. So I went a little heavy-handed just to ensure that it would kind of like peek through. So again, I'm going to be using the Light Wonder. I'm so glad I made friends with this because it really does have like a nice finish, so long as I don't use too much. I feel like it just looks really cakey if you go in heavy. So anyway, sorry, I'm just shaking this up. I'm gonna take my sponge here and just start to dab this all over. By the way, I don't think I mentioned I have this in the shade 3 Fair. So next up we've got concealer, and I think I've tried every single one of Charlotte Tilbury's concealer. There's one that has like the double end. One has like an under eye kind of conditioner, and then the other end is a concealer. Both have like a brush tip. I did not like that. That made my under eyes look not good. It just kind of emphasized the fine lines. And then there's the one that comes kind of in the rose gold packaging. Again, brush tip where you either click or you turn. I think you turn and product comes out. That one was okay. That one was much better than the double-ended one, and occasionally I would use that one, and it was always fine. And then she just released this Magic Away liquid concealer. This is the one that has the sponge tip, and I have this in the shade 3 Fair, also same as Light Wonder, and this one I like the most out of all three. So I actually haven't been using this that much since I got it, for no other reason other than I have a bunch of concealers that I really like, and I just have been reaching for those over and over again, kind of, not thinking about it. I'm just going to use my sponge again. It's gigantic, but it has a point, so I feel like I can use it for concealer. All right, so there is the concealer blended in. I really like this shade of concealer. I think it does a nice job like brightening under my eyes, but it's not too severe. There isn't like too much brightness going on where it looks like a little too white. Next up, I really want to glow for this holiday look. So I'm kind of piling it on between the Hollywood Flawless Filter and this next product, which is the Hollywood Beauty Light Wand. I'm going to be glowing. You'll be able to see me from outer space. And I think I'm probably going to be putting on some powder highlight too. So let's just start with this. Again, this is the Beauty Light Wand. I love this product. So when she released this, she had a contour wand and a beauty light wand. These products are awesome. I think the only complaint most people had was the packaging. It comes in this sponge tip applicator. You have to unlock it and then you squeeze and the product comes out. So far, I haven't really had an issue with it other than this kind of gets a little bit gross. I think you can remove this sponge tip and wash it if you want. I, for one, am not going to bother. But this leaves such a beautiful, beautiful glow. It has like this little peachy undertone under there. The only thing I would caution you is make sure you close this up. Otherwise, if you squeeze accidentally, you're just going to have a whole glob of product sitting up there. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze. So I am going to just use my fingertip and apply to my cheeks. God, I think I got too close there. Some to my nose. Okay, let me close this up. I do think we have a lot of glow going. Let me add a little bit more. I just love this product. I think it just leaves your skin looking so, so beautiful. All right, and now I'm going to use the contour wand. This actually has some product left on it, so I'm going to swipe and swipe. Going to take my sponge and just blend that in. This product blends in so beautifully, and this shade works beautifully for my skin tone. This is for fair medium. I think there's 2 shades for the contour, and I think for the highlight there's only 1 shade. All right, so I have all of my cream products down, which is kind of a lot. I'm gonna go in with some powder, the Charlotte Tilbury press powder. It's amazing. I think everyone raves about this. I don't know anyone, actually. Do I know anyone? I don't think I know anyone that feels lukewarm or doesn't like this powder. I don't think so. So I have it in Fair 1, and I'm just gonna use a big fluffy powder brush and then brush away any excess. All right, so I'm going to start going in with some powder products here. This is definitely one of my favorite all-time products from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Film Star Bronze and Glow. It has a great sculpting powder, has a great highlighter here. Again, it's just one of those things that's perfect for my skin tone. Formula is actually really beautiful too. Blends beautifully. It has just the right amount of pigmentation. It's just great. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Sculpt powder. I've got my Sonia G Sculpt 1 brush here, and I'm going to just go in and lay the powder down and then blend it out. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but her sculpting powder, it has a little teensy bit of like a red undertone in there, and I think that's why I like it so much. It just looks really healthy. I think that redness kind of makes it look a little bit like you've been out in the sun. So before I use this highlight powder, I'm going to go ahead and add some blush. I took out my favorite Charlotte Tilbury single blush. This is the one called First Love. It's very, very nude. Just gorgeous. This really works with like any look. It can lean warm if you needed to. It can lean cool if you needed to. It's just fantastic. I'm going to go with like a fluffy synthetic brush here. This blush is very pigmented. I think this could have been the very first product I ever purchased from Charlotte Tilbury. I was so intrigued by that little nipple design, and the color just seemed perfect. All right, and now we're going to go back into the Film Star Bronze and Glow and use the Glow powder. I'm using my Sonia G Sculpt 3 brush. And this powder is really just, it's the powder version of this Beauty Light Wand, I find. It just has that, champagne kind of hue to it, and it has that like peachy undertone, but the peachy isn't too much. It's not like the Becca Champagne Pop where it's like almost, in certain light, it almost looks like orange. It's much more toned down than that. But on the skin, it looks really flawless. And if that is not enough bling for you, you can go ahead and use her Bar of Gold highlighter trio. I really like this formula. It's very different from this one. This one seems to be just kind of a traditional powder formula, pressed powder formula. This is definitely like baked. It has more of like a sheer kind of application, but it's very effective. Even though it's sheer, it's just very, very effective. So anyway, I'm going to use some of this gold on the higher points of my face, like my nose, across my eyebrows here. And then I like to use these kind of sheer bright highlights to kind of like highlight my highlight, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to place this like right in the middle to really kind of bring that home. Yeah, it just adds like a little bit of like a white kind of like sheen there. If that is a little too much for you, you can always go in and blend it out. I'm gonna leave it pretty much as is. All right, I've got my Charlotte Tilbury Supermodel Brow Lift Pencil. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in my brows off camera and I'll be right back. All right, now for eyes. I am going to use one of the new palettes that I purchased while Mona was here. I hauled this when we did our Muck Hollabang live stream, so many of you probably didn't see that, but I purchased the Uptown Girl eyeshadow quad. It is this one. It's definitely a little bit more cool tone because it has those grays in there, but these two colors here are a little bit warmer toned. I'm really, really excited to dig in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Sonia G Worker 2 brush. I'm gonna go into this light champagne satin color, and I'm gonna put this all over my lid. I feel like this is the eyeshadow version of her highlight. It's a little bit less peach, but it's really very close. All right, so I'm just putting that on like the inner portion of my lid, going over towards the center. Then I'm gonna take my Sonia G Builder Pro brush and I'm gonna go into this deep gray shade over here. And I'm going to apply this to the outer corner of my eye and pat that in. Just sort of creating the shape that I want here. And then kind of patting it over that first shade, blending it out a bit. All right, so I've got some decent dimension there. I'm gonna take this Hakuhodo B142. I'm gonna go into this lighter gray shade and very lightly, I'm going to take this shade and blend out this top edge here. That inner corner shade is so bright, I don't even feel like I need this top coat. This is one of those more sheer kind of glistening top coats. I don't know, maybe I'll add this just over the gray a little bit to give that a little bit of shine. I do want to make this glowy. That's very festive. Let me do that to the other side. Wow, when the light catches it, it looks really super glittery and fun. So I also purchased 2 powder eyeliners, and one is like a very deep, dark, cool toned kind of brown, which is the one I think I'm going to use. And one is more of like a sparkly brown, which I think because this is cooler toned, it's not really going to work. So I'm going to use this powder eyeliner called the Classic Eye Powder Pencil, and it's in the color, I think this is Audrey. I think this other one is Sophia, and I think this one is Audrey. Anyway, so these powder pencils are very different. So these are great if you want kind of like a softer line, if you want to smudge it out and smoke it out. It's really nice. So I'm going to go in and line my upper lash line. All right, so eyeliner is applied. Next, I've got mascara, and I was just digging through my little mascara area, and I pulled this out, and I realized that I think I've had this for a really long time, and it's definitely opened. I've definitely used this before, so I think I'm gonna put this aside and not chance it because I have another Legendary Lashes by Charlotte Tilbury sample here, and this is, I don't know if she has more than one shade, because this just says Legendary Lashes Mini, but it is definitely black. I need to curl my lashes first, but I remember using this and liking it. I think for most of the day it stayed put. It was just towards the end of the day where I felt like it smudged a little bit under my eye. All right, lashes curled. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara. All right, so eyes are done. Let's move on to lips. I am going to be using one of my all-time favorite red colors, and this is the color Love Bite. This is in her Kissing formula, so it's not the Matte Revolution formula, it's more of the kind of cream formula. And I also have one of her lip cheats in the color Savage Rose. This is a little bit deeper than Love Bite, but I really, really like this color because it's kind of a warm red, much like Love Bite. And I also have her lip gloss in Ibiza Nights. It's just this really lovely kind of like lip topper. It doesn't have that much coverage, so it's a really nice kind of like shimmery topper. So I'm gonna go in with the lip liner first. I find when I'm doing a really bold lip color, if I do like a really thick lip liner application, then I don't have to be quite as neat with the lipstick. It really helps a lot. All right, there is the lip liner. All right, and now for the lipstick. Isn't that such a great red? I love this red. It has just a little bit of orange in it. Oh, it's so pretty. All right, and now I'm going to top it off with some of this gloss just to give it a little sparkle. Put the gloss on the back of my hand and tap it on. So this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just so much fun for me to do. To go through my collection and just pull out Charlotte Tilbury stuff. Sometimes, I mean, maybe this is just me, but sometimes you just forget like how much one brand has that you love, and you just forget. You just completely forget. So this was such a great exercise for me to go through and like just remember all of these first loves that I have, like this blush. And hopefully I inspired you with this makeup look that I did for the holidays. So I hope everyone is having a great holiday season. If you are going out to parties and stuff, hope you're having a ton of fun. I hope you're being safe. And definitely give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to me if you haven't already. I will see you in my next video.